Dun dun dun! Halibut, yeah. Big one, eh?
It's about 20 kilo.
What's the largest one you've gotten before?
180.
A little bigger.
A little bigger, yes. Really nice. Really good condition.
So today we're going to take you through the entire process from the halibut is caught until you have it filleted. So it starts with us bleeding it here.
Into water.
Alright, so we got the halibut up in here with the other fish. It's laying in some cold water now to bleed out because the meat gets much better. Another good option could be to cut the tail and hang the fish from the head and let it bleed out that way. But we're on the boat so we couldn't do that. Anyway, now we're just going to go ahead and remove the head as well as take out the guts from the fish here and clean it up a little bit. We will be aging it in some ice water here for a couple of days. I think it was 4 days. Anyway, let's move on to the filleting. Alright, so we made it to shore here. It's a couple of days later and a little rainy. Today we're gonna fillet the halibut here. So see, it's been laying here in ice for a couple of days.
4 days.
4 days, yeah. And here we have the anglers, also a bunch of anglers.
Yeah.
But today we are going to focus on the halibut here.
Yeah, you can see that.
Yeah, it's full of slime. Yeah, so the first thing we need to do is clean off all the slime from the fish. It's full of slime. In the past we used a lot of knives, just scrape it off. But recently we found out that it's very effective to just hose it down. You can see the slime is coming all off. How many kilos do you think this one is?
16.
16 kilos. And how much meat do you think we can get out of this one?
12, maybe.
12 kilos of meat. Now it's nice and it's much easier to work with, right? So we have two different ways that we can fillet the halibut. First one is going to be to just make small steaks of it. We're going to start at the tail here. I will show you how to do that. Then after we're done with that method, I'm going to show you how to take the entire thing apart so that you can get the big fillets of pure meat. Sorry about the rain, by the way. It's Norway. Yeah, typical. We're used to it here on the west coast of Norway. So see, I brought out a big knife today. Yeah.
Victorinox.
Yes.
Very good.
Okay, so we just get started here. We need a big knife to break through the bone, as this is a big fish, as we've alluded to here.
And if you meet the bone, you can.
This you discard of.
This part you can use to steak.
This is the easiest way to just make steaks. You can just cut it up from the back, usually around the back fin area, right? And you can see you need to use a lot of power and even the hammer with the... And then this, you can just take this home and cook it on the pan. But as you can see, it is a little bit tricky to fillet these big halibuts as they have such thick bones. And a little hack here, just use the scissors to cut off the fins here. That way you get, I guess, a nicer product. Yeah. So we're just gonna add it to some cold water here and let it bleed out a little bit. So the steaks are pretty bloody still, even though we have blood. So how long do you think should be left in here?
It doesn't matter. A few hours. 10 minutes. How long time you have?
Yeah. Here we decided to just scrape off some of the extra slime here with a knife just to get it clean before we start making the big fillets. So the second method we want to show you here is how to cut the entire fish into regular fillets. For this we brought out smaller knife here. This is the one that we recommend. Also the Pro Fisherman's favorite here. You can see it's a little bit smaller, but we're adding links to all these products in case you want to purchase them down in the video description. Anyway, we're going to start by making fillets here. So we're going to go ahead and cut behind the bone of the front fin here and down along the rib cage and just take that off. We're going to use the scissors here to cut off the fin. It's just easier than using the knife. Obviously the knife is fine too here if you want to. The fin we just discard off. So as you can see here, we have a lot of boneless fillets inside here as well.
With a big bone here.
Yeah, that would be the one behind the gills of the fish.
Yeah.
So just gonna slice that off there. We're gonna take this home and boil it in some soup. There is so much bone inside that we don't usually eat it as like fillets, but you could do it, you could just clean it out. As for the rest of this section, that is just pure meat. There is no bones left in this. It's also super healthy and actually full of omega-3. So what we're gonna do is that we're just gonna cut it up to nice little steaks here, or fillets, and that's ready for the pan really. As you can see, they are a little bit red, so we're gonna put them in some water here as well, just to make sure bleed it out as much as possible here. Now this is really fatty cut of the fish. As you can see here, my father's gloves and the water itself here is full of fat on top, which is pretty interesting. Once you've done with the front fin there, we're also going to make fillets here. Yeah. And you're cutting down along the bone of the fish, right?
Yeah.
So all the way down. If you follow along the
midline,
midline, you're going to hit the backbone of the fish. Oh. You're going to cut all the way down until we meet the backbones.
Yes.
Going along the fish here. You're going to feel it once you hit the point there.
Because you feel it.
Usually this first fillet that you take off is the most tricky one, since you have to get at it at kind of an angle. That's why these filleting knives are really nice. But as you can see, as we work our way deeper into the meat here, it gets easier and easier to work with the fish. Once you make it to this point, it's very easy to just continue going along the bones and take this part off from the remainder of the fish here, like so.
No bone.
No bone. This is boneless fillet.
Yes.
And here we can see the cage.
Yeah.
And this is just to be discarded. We're also going to go ahead and trim off this lower part of the fillet here, as it is a lot more fatty than the other part.
You can use it in soup and take really fat, a little.
Fat,
yes.
Yeah.
Skin.
Yeah. So next step here is that we're going to take the upper part of the fish, and now since we've gone down to the middle already, we can just follow the bone, or I guess the upper backbones along the fish here. Just take your time with this. Again, you want to make sure that you don't slice into the bone. If you just follow along the top bone here, you're going to get boneless fillets. At this point, it's all about working your way down through the fish and try and get as much meat as you can. Don't leave it on the bones, right? Just make sure that you don't bring the bones into the fillet itself.
Oh. Very good knife.
And yeah, a good knife is going to make a huge difference when you're making these fillets. So we're just going to take this piece off here, and we're going to check for some bones. As you can see up top here, this is along the fin. There is some bones there, so we're just going to cut that off. And we're just going to check the rest of the fillet as well here while we're already at it. So now we'll repeat the process here on the back side. So I'm going to speed up the video a little bit, as it is pretty much the same here on the back side. So we're going to start by taking off the front fin and the ribcage area there. And then we're going to make an incision down the middle of the fish here. So you can see it is a little bit more tricky to do the first fillet, since there is less room to maneuver the knife around there. So just take your time and move slowly down along the bones there until you make it to the end. Now, as you can see, there is a little bit of cleaning work to do here. We need to cut off the top, as there is some bones up there. Just take your time and make sure you get them all out of there. This is the ribcage area. Like I said, the top part you can keep for soup, but it is really this ribcage area that is the fatty, nice one. So this second area of the fish, it's a lot easier to work with, to cut out, since you have more room to work with. Again, we will need to clean it up a little bit though. And there we go.
Crab feed.
Crab food. So now we need to clean up this part as well. As you can see, this is the top fin of the fish. We're gonna feed that to the crabs as well here. There is some meat on it. This is just cleaning up the fillet here. Here we have the fourth fillet here as well, completely bone free. And we're ready to add it to the bucket here. And I'm gonna weigh it up for you afterwards here. And it weighs exactly this much. So that's how much meat we got out of 16 kilogram halibut. Alright, so that's how you do it. If you want to see more fishing tutorials, consider subscribing. Got another really cool video here that you can check out. Thank you to my father for demonstrating here. And yeah, see you in the next one.